One has embraced a concept called evolve. Help our listeners understand, what is evolve?
Well, simply put, Bill, Evolve is what I would say our roadmap,
Okay.
our strategy. So, what does that really mean? The main objective with Evolve is just what I just mentioned. It's to maximize our customers' profitability and their return on their production protection inputs. And we've got a whole host of actions that we're doing with that. We're looking at our complete portfolio, which could be HPG, a product there. We also have
Which is the Helena Products
Helena
Group.
Products Group. We
Okay.
also have our preferred suppliers that bring
Sure.
us technology, and we also look at, their branded products.
Right.
So all that together, how can we really position and make the best agronomic recommendation for the customer? It takes a village of people, and it's about people, everybody understanding their role, what they bring to it. We're
Right.
utilizing data through
Okay.
our Agri-Intelligence platform. And many times it's the customer's field actually telling us what it needs, and then we're really
Right.
looking at the best product to fit that situation and timing. So it's really about organizing the things that we do,
Okay.
but doing them really, really well. And if you think about our slogan, people, products,
Right.
knowledge, it's really about getting the people trained, understanding their role, what they bring to it. I just say agronomic training.
Sure.
But also it's not just our existing people. It's how do you attract additional talent to the organization, and then it's looking at the products, whether it's Helena products with HPG, Partners Technologies, Partners branded products. It's understanding those and how they best fit in the market. And then really what underpins all of that is the knowledge, not of just the people and the knowledge of the products, but what's the field telling us to do. And we're really utilizing that through our Agri-Intelligence group to make the best agronomic recommendations.
So, Patrick, can you share with us some examples of Evolve, and maybe some success stories of how Evolve's working in the field for growers?
Well, I think it could really bridge to two things. Is one, how we go about our day-to-day our jobs. What's our intent? What's our objective this week in terms of, is it, we may be in the pre-plant phase of the market. What are the products that we've got? What are the things that our growers are needing? Is getting our team aligned to really decide what to do and plan for it, make sure our folks are trained, make sure they've got confidence in what we're selling, how we interact with our agri-intelligence folks, how we interact with our agronomists, is bringing a team of experts in with the ultimate goal is to maximize that customer's profitability. That's one example. Just to make that a little more realistic,
Sure.
is our AI group has High Ground, which goes out and we're doing a lot of soil sampling.
Okay.
We understand what the field is deficient on, so then that would go back, let's just say, whatever micronutrient it is, to making sure that we've got that particular product that will fit that need for that customer. And it's not us just looking at it saying, hey, we think he needs this. It's actually his field telling us what he needs. And then we would align the appropriate personnel with that, whether it's the product manager talking about the product and why it's important here, or it's the product specialist talking about some additional technical benefits of it, or maybe it's the agronomist talking about what the data is saying and why it's saying it, and then how can we help that deficiency.
So that's a pretty good example of how technology is really integrating with agronomy. In Helena Products, they're definitely complementing each other. Is that pretty accurate?
Oh, absolutely. I think, if you ask me, Bill, I think information is absolutely the most critical piece to get right. And I think companies that can take the best information generated from the farm and can put it in the simplest form to have the biggest impact will be the leader in the future. That's certainly something that Helen is practicing every day.
Yeah, I think that's very true. Growers want things simple. Let's say farming's very complex. And you know that from your past history in the basic manufacturing world, as well as being an agronomist and a crop consultant. It's even getting more complex these days, especially as we bring in new technology. And having, I guess, that team to support them at the farm gate is really critical.
Yeah, I think if you look at our market, from our customers, you look at the consultants that are in the market, you look at it gets back to the teamwork. Is everybody's got a role, and if you're an expert in that role and you come together with good teamwork, you can really, really be impactful on. Again, our ultimate objective is to increase and maximize our customers' profitability based on their inputs. And I can't say enough for our team out there because we learn every day.
Sure.
But I would argue we've got some really, really good agronomic folks who can really put the best agronomic solutions in front of our customers.
Patrick, shift gears a little bit here. It's the end of June. It's a busy time for your team here in Memphis. Your group will be hosting an Evolve Field Day. What's the purpose of the Evolve Field Day, and that'll be held here in Memphis at the end of June?
Every summer, it's a really exciting time for us to get out. And why is that? Because we're getting to showcase what we've been working on here in the office in the lab with our R&D partners, as well as a lot of the R&D trials that we farm out. And these are the products that we'll be launching in September formally. Okay. And it gets us a chance to not only showcase to our internal colleagues about what we have and tell them about it, what's coming, but also this year we're actually bringing in some customers to share with the introductory of these products. And then we're going to show them a few things that we're working on that are a little bit further down the road, but very exciting time for us to really share what we've been working on behind the scenes.
Well, Patrick, at the field day, one of the things that your team is going to be featuring is a technology method called Protecta. What is Protecta?
Bill, the simplest form I would say to take away from this is Protecta is enhancing the active ingredients potential. So what does that really mean? So, there's some great products on the market, around insecticides and fungicides, which that's where Protecta is fitting. And what we do is how do you go above and beyond to build that formulation better, and simply put, where it makes the products perform better. And yes, we've got a higher cost of production to be able to do that.
Sure.
But we're offering to a smaller segment of the market. It's a higher cost,
right?
But they perform better. But we look for, does it truly maximize the performance of that product and give the customer a better return on their investment? And what Protecta is doing, it's getting the right ratio of technology that's going in suspension with the active ingredients that makes that active ingredients perform to its potential.
Okay.
And it's really, really interesting around Protectas because we've had several breakthroughs that we've been working over the last 3 to 4 years to really figure out how you enhance insecticidal control and how you enhance fungicidal control. And it's not something that's exactly the same with each one of them because every AI is different. When you put them together, they're different. But what we've been able to pioneer and figure out is when you do combine different actives, is the formulation technology that we're putting in is giving a higher level of return in terms of performance. And how do we know this? It's not something that we just do here in the lab. Once we have the formulation, we farm this out to third-party researchers under a HM number is what we call it.
Okay.
And they give us unbiased data back. And we look at that over a 3-year period and go, have we made a difference? Yes, it's more costly for us to build these, but at the end of the day, is it delivering a higher profit and better control for that customer?
Wow. So it sounds like Protecta is a method that takes good products and frankly makes them better. Is that in terms of formulating them?
I think that's totally appropriate to put it like that. I would say, just to build it a little deeper, it's
Sure.
a diligent design
Okay.
on the higher performing active ingredients. Again, we're getting precise ratios,
Right.
precise concentrations. We're putting unique formulation technology that's specifically made for those two AIs.
Okay.
And then again, from there, we want expert analysis. It's not something that we're just going to evaluate here on our own. We want other non-biased experts within the industry to look at these and say, rate them. How are they
Right.
performing? We do this across multiple geographies, multiple conditions. We do it against performance comparison. What's currently on the market that's similar? Can we outperform that? But it's unbiased third-party researchers that are giving us that answer. So the verified results are really, really key to bringing these to market. We want, again, a balanced, consistent formulation. We want better disease control, better
Okay.
insect control. We want enhanced compatibility and handling. That's very important to our
Right.
customers. And just to round out your question here is why are we doing this? Is we really want to simplify pest management, and we think that we're changing the experience of customers using fungicides and insecticides when they go with one that has Protecta technology.
Now you can go to the tank with Protecta technology, having a very high level of confidence that a lot of research has gone into that at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And have very high level confidence in that type of product.
And the thing too that I always like to say when we're doing these podcasts is it really doesn't matter what you and I are
Sure,
saying here.
absolutely.
I want to take our existing customer base
Yep.
as well as new customers out there. Let them try the product. Let them
Yep.
look at it. Let them make their own decisions. But we know, based on what we've seen and our third-party researchers, that we truly have something different here, and it's going to offer a different level of experience for our customers.
So Patrick, when can growers start to expect to see Protecta maybe hitting some of their farms, and I guess what kind of products are going to introduce or have Protecta inside of them out of here fairly shortly?
Our first products will be in 2023.
Okay.
Now, here at this field day we've got coming up next week,
Mm-hmm.
we will showcase two products. One is called Mogul.
Okay.
The other is called Tycoon. They're both fungicides.
Okay.
We'll showcase those two products, show a little bit of data with them. We'll show them some of the performance in the field. And I know it's hard to look at a plot at a field day, especially on a hot June day, and say, is it working or not?
100 degrees in Memphis.
But really the main intent there, Bill,
Right.
is just to say these are coming.
Right.
We will formally launch them in September, second
Okay.
week of September at our national sales meeting. And then our sales team will be getting out to work with our retail locations and wholesale customers to share these products. But it'll be two products in 2023 with Mogul and Tycoon.
Excellent. So a couple products, couple fungicides coming to the market in the near future.
Yes, sir.
All right, excellent. Patrick, what other Evolve, I guess, experiences can folks expect at this field day coming up?
Well, we're not only going to do the new product introductions, we're also going to host and showcase a lot of key technologies and products that we already have in the market. So, whether it's on soybeans,
Sure.
cotton, corn, we'll showcase some existing products and how they're working, and then working with our some of our groups that are out in the field with our customers. They've got different types of programs, agronomic solutions, if you will, that we're going to share with them and some of the results we're having there. So, we'll have a good group of folks here. It will be hot, but yet it'll be exciting about some of the things that we're offering.
It's that time of year, and field days are certainly happening across the country. Patrick, are there other field days, Evolve field days, happening across the rest of the nation that growers might be able to experience?
We are, Bill. We've got field days that are going on across all 4 business units and even our specialty group. Just to showcase our product line.
Yep.
I would say on average, we're probably having 4 to 5 of those outside of the big one that we have here at the Agri Center.
Okay.
Here at HPG. So yes, they'll have the opportunity to see these more on a local basis and
Sure.
some of the things that we're doing.
Sir, so our listeners should reach out to their local Helena representative to learn more about some of those opportunities to experience some of these Evolve Field Days, and as well as any other side-by-side trials that might be done at a local level. Patrick, is there anything else you want to share with the team today?
Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.
It's always nice to get up and talk about HPG as well as Helena and what we're doing. But I can't say enough about our people, embracing what we do as a company, and then really working together as an agronomic team to bring our customers the best recommendations, which ultimately can enhance their overall profitability.
Well, I want to thank you, Patrick Ewan, for joining us here today on FieldLink. And folks, stay tuned for more Protecta coming your way in the fall. Sounds like we got a couple of fungicides going to be introduced in the fall. Be sure to reach out to your Helena representative to learn more about Protecta. And now we're going to head to Nashville, Tennessee to visit with Jody Lawrence for a commodity update. Jody, welcome to FieldLink today.
Oh, thank you, Bill. A big day always. The June 30th report is a massive market mover, and just simply this kind of 2-3 week period between June 20th and July 10th, you get a lot of information from the USDA, and obviously you get some really critical weather updates and what's peering into pollination forecasts. So it's been a hectic and volatile and unfortunately a bearish time over the last 10 days.
Yeah, a lot going on. A lot of reports coming out. Obviously, between the USDA, you take a look at the weatherman, as well as some of the other commodities that are out there. Jody, what's the government talking about as far as this USDA report on the on the stocks report?
Well, this one is pretty clean because they really just update planted acreage and the June 1st stocks. And with those coming in, despite the kind of cool, wet start to planting and the issues in the North Dakota, Minnesota, really pressing on after prevent plan insurance dates had passed, the corn number came in slightly above what average trade guess was, and about 400,000 acres above what the USDA estimated in March, came in at 89.921. So, which gave the trade a bearish reaction because the weather at this point it looks more favorable, but certainly there are enough fringe problems, and had wide-ranging conversations today for people all over the 33 states that we try to talk to, that you probably have a third, if not 40% of the farmers who feel like they are desperate for a rain. So I find it odd the way the market is trading to have given up $1.40 in the last 15 days over some mild weather and some rain for really just some very regionalized areas in eastern Iowa and Illinois. But that's what happens usually when it rains in Illinois. The market goes down.
Yeah, I was going to say, not a lot of surprises though in this report from what we're picking up.
No, the stocks numbers for corn at 4.346 billion bushels was just slightly above estimate. But it really, we're not sure. The more calls I make talking to elevators and talking to buyers and talking to end users on the feed side, when you're having to pay $1.30, $2, I even heard a plus $3 bid for corn in basis today. I'm really shocked because I just don't think the USDA fully understands how to put this whole thing together, because either the farmer is holding on to everything that they can and they'll win the battle, which they will, or there's just not as many stocks out there, because when you're having to pay $1.50, $2 over the board for anything, that tells me there's a shortage. And when you talk about the bean stocks number, it did rise significantly over last year and a little bit above estimates at 971 million bushels. but the big surprise in the whole report was that planted acreage for beans came in 2.15 million acres below March and below estimates. And that really sent beans from trading 30, 40 lower early before the report to traded 40 higher at one point before that rally kind of fizzled. So, but you're still talking about some, when you take out 2 million acres of anything, you're in beans. All of a sudden, that's 100 million bushels, and that begins to get ending stocks down to very, very snug positions. So
you're starting to get things tight. Those are big swings when a few percent here and there. But boy, oh boy, that adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It would be the equivalent of losing close to 400 million bushels on the corn side. But all the wheat numbers in this report, because you're at the harvest of the winter and the spring wheat's all been planted, usually a non-event, and today's numbers were completely neutral as expected, so nothing surprising there. And the real frustration is just simply that corn, because we were trading 2 weeks ago, a really dry, unprecedentedly dry mid-June forecast went into the Juneteenth weekend, came back, and that's really started milder and wetter forecasts just about every day since then. And you've got corn having taken off $1.40 from where we were trading in the middle of the month, which I've never, and most people in this market have never seen such a collapse when you are not talking about just an entire corn belt wide soaking rain or several rain events to really make the crop, because it appears to be overreaction if you look at it fundamentally just from what the cash markets are doing. But when you have the funds and you have the rest of the people involved in this that we're battling these days, it becomes a very, very, they're very formidable opponents when you read the numbers one way and they have twice as much money and decide to read them the other.
Right. Yeah. A lot of volatility in that area. Certainly, the headlines being weather right now, influencing a lot of things in the marketplace. And what are some other weather challenges that you're hearing from some of your customers, Jody?
Well, of course, Helena's headquarters being in Collierville, just outside of Memphis, y'all have been sweltering, and the entire Delta has been under, I believe, when you take it, Tennessee, when you're talking crop specific about the lower Ohio Valley, if you take Kentucky and you take Tennessee, you take Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, it's the hottest and driest June on record for a lot of those states. And you just can't jump that hurdle of going, oh, well, worst June ever, but these crops will be fine. And you're seeing that, and including Texas in this, because Texas is already widespread reports of just abandoning whatever did come up on the corn side and on the cotton side, simply because they just got smoked by the heat and the lack of rain. And on the cotton side, for the cotton guys listening, that acreage number was down 1 million and seen as supportive, but the demand destruction of the fear of the world recession lately, because of everything that's going on, has been the hammer that's pounded cotton from the mid 120s down to under $100 or $1 a pound now. And but just looking at the entirety of the report, it's hard to understand why the only thing that's not logical to me in this report is that the U.S. farmer went to more trouble to plant their corn, which was the highest risk, highest input cost crop, at the expense of beans, which was making them just about as much money at half or less of the input. So, and you look at the strength of the cash market and these stocks numbers for the USDA not to at least address that in some capacity. it seems to me that this report leaves, especially on the corn side, more questions than answers.
Well, it kind of goes back to those guys that like to plant corn, really want to plant corn, and despite all the obstacles, like you mentioned, they still got the acres put in this year for the 22 crop. Jody, other big news kind of in this area of markets, a little change in tune in the diesel area. How's energy looking?
Well, you've had quite the break in diesel fuel over the last 2 weeks, just about the time where the world recession fears really came into the market, because you've had diesel break almost 70 cents a gallon, and while that leads us to a point where you really have to look at hedging some diesel, because this is the biggest break we've seen since the war started, and we're going to be in a position that because there's no margin for error, refiners and producers are running at full capacity, and stocks are going down. Gasoline stocks, for example, are the lowest in about 10 years. Despite gas being at $5, U.S. The U.S. is still driving, and you have to take that into account, because if a hurricane comes into the Gulf and that makes a major disruption during hurricane season, which obviously we're getting closer to in that August-September timeframe, you don't want to pay any more than you have to for all the fuel you're going to need for harvest.
Well, there's definitely a lot of, you can't avoid it right now. Fuel costs are going crazy, a gasoline, but boy, there might be a little bit of break here, and a good opportunity for growers to really pay attention to as they look for their fall needs and maybe even beyond. Jody, boy, always looking for an opportunity out there as growers. As we've talked a lot about the volatility with the grain markets. And we all understand that, but boy, if you're feeding livestock right now, trying to manage and navigate this area can be quite challenging. What advice do you have for those guys out there that got a little cattle or some hogs to feed?
Well, the $1.40 pullback and the almost $4 even in beans, even though it's bounced, is really a godsend for the livestock industry, because now prices have held steady. They have not been as affected by the world recession fears, because the pig number was smaller than expected and on feed is not growing. That you're really in a great spot to lock in some long-term feed needs as December corn trades back under 625 to 620, because 7 days ago, nobody in the world thought they would get this opportunity this summer, maybe not in all of 22. So this is a great spot to figure out your math, do some hedging, buy your inputs on your feed side to know how you're going to finish out those cattle and hogs.
Well, definitely a good opportunity for growers, again, that have livestock to be paying attention to. There might be some opportunities for you to secure some supplies for the balance of the year. Jody, want to thank you for joining us from Nashville today. As we're kind of right in the middle of the Evolve Field Days here in Memphis, and you referenced the heat down here in Memphis. We definitely have it now, and we could sure use that rain, as you mentioned. So, but Jody, want to thank you for joining us again from Nashville.
Okay, Bill, thank you. Everybody have a great 4th of July.
Thank you, Jody. Joining us today here on FieldLink is Greg Smith. Greg is the Director of Brand and Innovation and Development for the Helena Products Group. Greg and his team are responsible for developing innovative products and technologies for Helena. With a portfolio of over 400 brands, his staff is always pushing the boundaries of innovation. Greg, welcome to FieldLink.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks for having me.
Greg, it's great to have you here. This is your first journey on our podcast, and we're excited to have you here. And but before we get too deep in about the Helena Products Group and some of the things that you do in your area, tell our listeners a little bit about your journey. Where's home? Where did you start your career journey?
It's funny you say journey, because I was thinking about that, and journey is it's been a journey actually. Moving
Yeah.
from Arizona to Memphis, but I've been with Helena for 12 years now, and
Sure.
when I first started with Helena, I came in as a strategic account manager for the Western Business Unit, and then the last 11 years I've spent it in Arizona and California as a area manager.
Mhm.
So over there, we dealt with a plethora of crops, and our locations, had anything from wine grapes to veggies, citrus, melons, berries, row crop.
Wow.
So cotton, corn, silage corn, sweet corn, sugar beets, and of course, alfalfa was our number one crop.
Wow.
And I've been here now at in my role since February 1st. So
Wow.
I come right in time for an ice storm,
You,
actually.
you showed up in Memphis during the ice storm of the
Yeah,
year.
yeah. And then I think we had a frost that busted our pipe in one of our brand manager's offices, and I think I took the blame for that as well, actually. So I've been getting all the weather related stuff that happens here in Memphis for the last 3-4 months.
You definitely have a target on your back. Did you bring the heat here too?
I think the last 10 days, I'm starting to take some credit, and actually now that it's been here for that long, I'm starting to take some. I'm getting blamed for it too. So
Awesome. Well, Greg, tell us a little bit about your team. You've got a unique structure at the Helena Products Group on how you're structured between brand and you've got a development area. Tell us how you're structured in your organization.
So on the brand side, those guys are organized into two kind of categories. One is crop protection, and one is crop production. So we have actually 6 brand managers in brand, and
Okay.
they actually 3 on the production side and 3 on the crop protection side. Then on the other parts of my team we got the R&D side, and then obviously the lab.
Wow.
So it actually, when you're talking about bringing products, it kind of makes sense to have all of those under one umbrella. So
Sure.
everybody's kind of, I call it the team, like you said, the team, and that's that you can't do one without the other. So it kind of starts with one, and you kind of hand everything off,
Right.
and everybody's kind of counterbalancing and actually ground truthing everything from the time you get a product or a
Right.
concept.
So you get a concept, and that may come from different areas across the company. Heck, I've always been told some of the best ideas come from the field, right?
That's it. Like, when we look at our product concepts and you listed it, the 400 products that we have every year. And if you look at our products that we're selling currently, all of them, our major ones, came from a person in the field, and it provided they seen a need, an agronomic need in the field, and it came in, and our teams took it, found something, and it put back to them and provide value to that grower. So that's the best. And it's
Yeah.
now, did they all happen like that? Not all of them, but
Sure.
it's a vast majority of our products are coming straight from our field staff. So
Wow.
it's a great way to, when you say what makes us different, I think that's it. We're right from the ground floor up, and then it goes back to that sales team.
Yeah. Well, that's a unique, strategy and I guess concept when you think about logically, who are the people that are on the turn rows in the field? It's our sales staff, it's our support staff, and they're the ones that are facing the challenges and working with growers on a daily basis.
Yeah, they see the need,
Yeah.
and whether it's a guy in Pasco, Washington, or a guy in Florida,
Right.
They see something, and there's obviously a need in that area. And with everything that's going on right now, whether it's supply issues and coming up with resistance and everything else, we have to have that knowledge and bringing it straight in from the field.
Greg, your group focuses not just on row crops and even specialty crops, but other areas of the business for turf and ornamental and forestry. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're it's interesting. We have one that we're looking at here is kind of interesting, and is even deer repellents and
Wow.
repellents and stuff like that. So
Wow.
yeah, it's not just corn and soybeans
Sure.
or leafy veg and citrus or alfalfa or wheat and barley crops or
Right.
so it is truly something that we're doing, not just on the big crops. It's everything. And and then we also have the global side too, that we have a global department here that Patrick and those guys look after, and we're
Right.
still providing support for those people too.
Products that are served around the world.
Yes, yeah. Marabini, obviously, we look after that here in North America. And then once we get outside of that, our parent company, Marabini, kind of takes that and runs with it. But our global team is here at our Agri Center.
Wow, excellent. So, Greg, how does the Helena Products Group develop all of their products? Are they in house, or do you work with outside partners? How are you structured?
We have many strategic partners, and those guys do formulate and manufacture for us. But I would say a majority of our products are actually formulated here in the lab, right here at our Agri Center. And then we have a sister company called Helena Industries, and then they will do our manufacturing for us. So it's a combination, really. But the vast majority would be kind of an in-house deal, and
Right.
we have our lab people that are formulating it. That concept comes in. We make sure that we can actually formulate it first, and that happens right here on site. And it's been happening like that for 50 years. So
Wow, you're talking about the lab. Helena has a really long history of bringing innovative products that come out of this laboratory here at the Helena Products Group. Can you tell us more about, the staffing there and some of those objectives?
yeah, I've only been here for a few months, but what I've seen already, it's just the lab. The lab is really, really impressive, and I think any time that we have any of our customers, not external, internal, and we can actually get a grower or anybody that's brand new. We do a lot of training here
Okay.
at on site, but when they actually get in front of our lab people, it really kind of draws the circles a loop on a lot of things. But when I first came, it was interesting when I heard 200 years of experience teamed
Wow.
up in that lab, and Trey Baker and Jennifer Baer and their team does an outstanding job formulating products for our field staff.
That's really, I guess, the combination of the art and the science
Yeah,
behind bringing these
yeah,
products together.
yeah, and trust me, uh, when I go over to the lab, I am in deep water. I'm in shark filled waters, so I have to. They got to dumb it down for me quite a bit, but they're impressive, and that's what they do on a daily basis, and they love doing it. You go over there and watch Jen and Trey and Carla and Fix, and it's awesome to see what they're doing.
Wow. Yeah, that's an interesting group. Extensive history here at the Helena Products Group with a great, longevity too. That's unheard of really in our industry. Greg, how does your team identify products to develop? Hey, where do they come up with this? We talked earlier about hey, a lot of our ideas come from the field, but share with me the process. Share with our listeners the process of developing a product. What goes into that?
And we did touch on it a little bit, and I'll just say, let's just say the concept comes in from the field, and that's normally it's the one of we really actually key in on that, and it's a focus of ours. We also have we have meetings with, and we're in meetings constantly with
Yeah.
companies trying to look at and evaluate products that may have a fit and find a need. But I would say once we get something, we have to ground truth it. And when we start taking something, the team that's working on this would be the brand team, the lab team, and then the R&D team. It would go through that process from brand to lab. Lab looks at it. Can they formulate it? Yep, we can formulate it. Goes to the R&D team, and then the R&D team does their magic, which
Okay.
is anywhere from to make a product or get a product to the field, it's going to take anywhere from 2 to 5 years, depending on what happens with that product.
Okay.
And every year, our R&D team is spending anywhere from $3 million to $4 million on replicated trials across the United States. I think, if memory serves me, we're looking at 500 and almost 600 products, 590 some products, research trials, not products. Sorry,
Sure.
research trials across the U.S. I think they're in 38 states and on 48 crops. So,
Wow.
and that's just every year. So it's a lot of work that goes into it. And I think the biggest thing that we have to remember is these products that we're trying to bring. We're trying to differentiate ourselves from our competition and bringing that value, an agronomic need. And if it doesn't meet that, that's why we're doing all this research, because if it's going to get that Helena Products logo on it, it's got to have some certain standards. And one of them is meeting that need and that ROI for that grower. It has to benefit him
Right.
on his ranch.
You referenced around 597 or so different replicated trials. Is that Helena reps doing all that in the field, or how's that organized?
No, it's, I think we got 22 universities, and they're all independent. These are independent research guys doing this for us, and we also have our Helena has our R&D team that's kind of independent. They're part of Helena, but they're actually, all the big 5 companies and anybody in the ag industry is kind of doing research with our R&D teams across the United States.
Wow. So really,
it's a small portion internally, but externally it would be the big number.
Pretty heavy third-party research trials.
Yeah, and because I think if you're going to go out and bring something to life, you got to be able to stand behind it, and you got to be able to look somebody in the eye, and the grower has to know that when you're bringing these products, and if you've been doing it for 50 years, you got to have that come along with it, and to have that credibility.
Yeah, certainly your team has more to lose than shoving a product out quickly and being diligent. Right?
Yeah, I think it's a short-term game. If you do that, we wouldn't be in this still here. You and I wouldn't even be on the doing this thing right now, because you lose a customer, and we want to be in this for the long haul. And ultimately, we're partners with our growers. We want them to succeed, because if they don't succeed, we're not here. So ultimately, we should have that mindset of we actually work for the grower, and ultimately we got to do what's best. And if you actually start with that right out of the gate and have that agronomic solution, and that'll always put you on the right path.
Greg, what are some of the challenges that you see your team addressing for growers in the future? What are they working on right now?
I've been the general manager here, Tim DeLiby. He's kind of charged us, and you look at biologicals, and that space alone, if you say that in the ag world, that's the fastest. It's the fast new car. It's the I'll go.
It's the crypto of ag.
Well,
maybe not now.
Maybe not lately. 95 to under 20,000. I guess. Yeah, it's. It might not be crypto.
Okay, it's the electric car.
Yeah, it's Tesla, maybe Tesla. But yeah, and in saying that, I think we're charged. Tim has kind of given us the marching orders to pursue this, and I think the biggest thing that we're trying to pursue is we need to have the credibility and the trust of our sales team and our grower that when we're going to bring a biological, I guess. In the past, there's this, connotations of maybe some, I'll use the word snake and the oil behind it, but we're trying to ground truth all of that. And, you look at that's one of the biggest things. But, as far as our future or our concepts, I got looking, and we have 83 concepts, product innovations in the pipeline. So, you start looking at that, I think, our future's pretty stacked to be able to bring that kind of stuff to life. Will they all come to life? No, but we have, concepts and innovation products that we're looking at that could come to market. So, and biologicals is obviously going to be part of it, and our brand managers are actively looking at that space. So we can bring something with our name on that, so our growers and our sales staff know that when we put that Helena logo back on it, they're going to have that comfortability of knowing that they're putting something on there that's going to work and bring value to their ranch.
Wow, great. That's exciting. 83 products in the pipeline that are, I guess, being considered. They're on the whiteboard right now.
Yeah, they're going through what you said. You asked me about the process. They're going through that process now,
Wow.
whether they're being tested and they could be in year 1, they could be in year 3, they could be, we also have the, the registration process. We forgot about that.
Oops.
that one, that little gem in the mix. But it is truly impressive when you start looking at that, and you sit down with some of these other companies, whether it's the Bayers of the world, the Syngentas, the FMCs of the world. Our pipeline is as good as any of them, I think. So
Wow. Well, I was going to ask you, not so much, I guess, on some of the supplier side, but what makes products that your team comes up with, what makes them really different from other competitors on the market?
Bill, that's an easy one.
Yeah.
It's people.
Okay.
It's our mantra. It's people, products, knowledge, and I think it all starts going back right to what we've talked about. It. I think this will be the third time is that field staff and our
Sure.
and our people that dealing with that farm gate. They're bringing us an idea, a concept, and then our team in here is, I think, as good as anybody out there in our space, and trying to bring those products to life. So that would be the biggest thing is it's the people, and then we ground truth everything, and then
Right.
like I said, when you're going to put that Helena Products logo on something, our sales force has they get comfy. It's the warm blanket approach, because they know what it's went through to get that logo.
Wow. Wow. Uh, Greg, we're here in the end of June, and then your team has the opportunity, going to be featuring some of the highlights on a field day coming up. Is there anything that you want to share about that?
I'm just, I think I don't have a whole bunch to share, but what I can say is I'm just so happy that we're actually having it.
Yeah.
You go back and let's be realistic. We haven't had a chance to have a field day, a true field day with actual face-to-face customers and our staff and our field staff here at the research center and at the Agri Center. That alone is a win. And yeah, we've got anywhere from six of these concepts that we're going to be looking at.
Sure.
We've got lots of herbicide trials. We've got lots of nutritional trials, sideband starters.
Sure.
So Protecta is going to be out there, and Bill, you guys did a great job at the Commodity Classic. It's been kind of launched, and Tony's going to get into that at the field day. But yeah, we're excited to have the field day, and that's where our brand guys shine and our R&D guys shine. That's what they live for is being able to stand in front of a group and work it outside and be right in on that turn row with our staff and with our field people. So it's really, we're looking forward to it. Now it's the weather. Let's talk about that. It's going to be
heat you brought from Arizona.
Yeah.
Memphis,
The 95 with 50 to 60% humidity next week.
There you go.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
But Greg, you bring up a great point. I think the Evolve Field Day is a great opportunity to really not just showcase products. Certainly going to do some of that and the pipeline stuff, but to showcase the people that are behind the scenes.
We haven't been able to get our guys in front of people and gals and ladies and everybody to show the lab. Everybody that since I got here, we finally started getting, and after February, we finally started bringing people in to actually train, to come into the lab, to bringing outside people in. So this pandemic and COVID and everything that's been going on, it's nice to be able to get back to what we normally do
Sure.
on a yearly basis, and that's have a field day. And we're evolving, just like you say, into something special here next week. So we're really looking forward to it.
Well, Greg Smith, Helena Products Group. Greg, glad to have you here in Memphis, joining our team. Excited to have you here on the FieldLink podcast, and thanks for all you do and your team does.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, Bill, for having me.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of FieldLink. Be sure to download FieldLink on your favorite podcast platform and follow us on social media to be sure that you don't miss the latest FieldLink podcast episode. Plus, gain even more agronomic insight by visiting the FieldLink section on helenaagra.com.